that can be in that jungle position. So I'm thinking we might see a Barat's pickup, or because like Estes, I'm not sure that right now is ban worthy. As far as seeing like extraordinary different picks here, I mean, we've just started, so I'm sure we're gonna start seeing some different ones out there. There were some counters that could have been done, maybe to kind of try to match it. I'm not sure how well Boxia matches up against the Barats, but I do know Boxia does very well against healing type characters, so maybe that might have been an option in there as well. But I do notice that a lot of times when we have been prioritizing a lot of XP laners, XP laners usually have the setting potential for our team. That's where it delegates on how well you're going to do during the objectives. However, sometimes you give up setting potential for backline dive, and that's what I've been noticing a lot with some of the compositions here, is that when they'll grab that Arlot, or they'll grab somebody else who can kind of get in the front, get those little get that tankiness, we give up that pick like a Yuzong, or something that can get into the back line that would be able to help you maybe get a snatch away at that Estes, or those marksmans, or those mages that are squishy enough. But we're gonna go and see what changes we have here for the second draft.
Well, the second draft is quite surprising to me, because right now, yes, the Paquito isn't banned and he is taken at the first phase of drafting. Also, as a first pick for FLUX Esports, they got the Claude. So if they wanted the Claude that much, why didn't they get it earlier on in the previous game, or even get it at all? They left it open until the first phase have been completely done by NIIGHTMARE Esports. But anyway, they want to make a certain strategy here, and now it makes more sense to me. Using that Brody is also questionable, because why would you take the marksman also so early? The enemy's marksman is already open, and you know what you are dealing with. Having the Faramis for extra sustainability, and having the Fredgen cannot make me stop wondering, will I see an Estus again?
Well, the thing for me is FLUX Esports snatches up the Claude early because in the last game, during the drafting phase, NIIGHTMARE Esports picked up their marksman early and then banned out a lot of marksmen for FLUX. So with FLUX picking up the Claude here, I think NIIGHTMARE Esports was afraid of the same thing happening to them, where they're going to get a lot of marksmen banned out from them. And I want to say maybe Cammy is very specific in what he wants to use during this. And then, of course, we just saw the Claude picked up because it's one of the big counters when it comes to a Faramis and that Nether Realm. So it's all starting to kind of slowly come together here for them. A big priority for NIIGHTMARE Esports being placed onto the Paquito, banned in the last match, picked up during this one. An amazing amount of damage that he can output in that early game. And I want to say maybe something a little bit lacking in the last composition. While they had the CC, they didn't exactly have a ton of damage in that early game to kind of really offset FLUX, to really keep them on the back foot. Like I said, they were stealing Lords. They were still losing fights. They were, I want to say it was like 6-2, 6-4. They still had a big lead in the gold, but it was very apparent where a lot of those fights were going. So right here, maybe trying to address that, get that damage out there with the Paquito and a Lilia pick.
Well, I think that it's enough for NIIGHTMARE Esports with the damage. They already have the physical damage and already have the burst damage, the magical one. But when it comes to Team NIIGHTMARE, I think that they are lacking a lot of face-checking heroes. They want someone to go inside. Maybe the Paquito will be used as a jungler, but mostly he's going to be on the XP lane. So they need someone to take in some damage. And in this composition, it can help two different... now it makes more sense. I was going to say that both teams work with the Minotaur or even with the Tigreal, but both these picks have been already banned because both of these teams are lacking front laners and area crowd control. So maybe we will see something interesting from both teams. Maybe we'll see a pick-off hero like the Kaja to serve the combination that Team NIIGHTMARE Esports are trying to make and pull off. But FLUX, on their side, again, I'm thinking of sustainability. But anyways, let's continue with the draft. Looking here at the second phase of banning with the Tigreal, with the Minotaur taking out like both highly effective tanks that can work in both composition. Bartz also joins from the side of Team NIIGHTMARE Esports.
Yeah, and you can see both taking out a lot of those big tanky CC machines. Minotaur taking off there, Tigreal as well. Very interesting that Diggy has not been banned yet, especially since right now both compositions are leaning more towards a lot of damage and sustain, something that Diggy really doesn't qualify for. They don't really have a lot of CC, don't really have a lot of I want to say stuns out there. They're just looking to be able to kind of engage, get that damage in, and try to escape. Very smartly, NIIGHTMARE Esports does take out the Barats because, I mean, they definitely, like I said, Estes probably not high on the ban list, but Barats still has many options at his disposal to be able to kind of keep up that sustain, keep up that tankiness during those fights. And we saw big examples of how tanky and how well he can do in these fights in that last game.
Well, for me, I think that for Fredrin, he can carry on the early game. The sustain will make them go into the mid game and also will make them be able to defend and either or also force down a fight and the Claude in the late game. So far for FLUX, I'm completely agreeing with the draft. But on the side of NIIGHTMARE Esports, again, I think that yes, he can carry on the early game. Mart's also beside the Lilia, but he cannot take in that much, or like he cannot be the face-checking hero for NIIGHTMARE Esports. So right now we will see that they have used the Vixana and switched the Faramis. Okay, they switched the Faramis to the room, and no, when I looked at the Arlet, I almost took back my words, but the Arlet will be used on the XP lane. So it's pretty confusing because we haven't seen a Faramis room in a really long time.
Yeah, that is interesting too. I did think it was going to be going in the mage position, but that just kind of shows the flexibility of Fireflux's picks here, is that now they're going to have a pretty decent amount of damage for the Vexana, especially when it combined with somebody like Fredrin, who's got the taunt that he can use to kind of keep everybody close. That's going to be prime time for Vexana to be laying down a ton of that damage, that Eternal Guardian as well. What we see on the side of NIIGHTMARE Esports is the possibility of trying to get those one and dones. They're going to try to get those little ganks in.
It is a very tricky pick and also a very smart one, because if you look at the Franco, he's one of the suppression heroes. His ultimate is unescapable, so he can take down the Claude. But again, he will force the enemies to use purifies. We will see right now. Oh, they don't even have purifies, so they have chosen to lit and to bet on not hitting those iron hooks from Jaspin. But on the other side, you don't want to take in a lot of damage from NIIGHTMARE Esports. Anyways, we are 1 minute into the game. FLUX Esports up against NIIGHTMARE Esports. Decide who's gonna proceed in this match.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of damage coming out from Jasmine right now, trying to make a little bit of an escape. But like you were talking about, like while that bloody hunt is basically, you can't get out of it, no matter, even if you had a purify, Jasmine himself, Franco himself, can be stunned and feared out of it. Oh, speaking of which, we do land a little bit of a hook. Rosa gonna expend that flicker to get himself back out of harm's way. Epix takes a little bit of damage from Lexi, who is now in the jungle, and you can see that fear doing its work. Such a huge amount of CC for such a little character, and we're gonna start seeing it be come more and more into play as we move into the mid game.
Both mid laners didn't buy the room yet, so there must be something being prepared from FLUX Esports, because I was looking so closely above their head, their tiny heads. I didn't see any roaming item being used either by Apix47 or by Rosa, and having the Vixana on Apix47 means that he will be also again the roamer, so it's a Vixana room.
Yeah, very interesting too. I mean, I believe they didn't buy it early because they just wanted to make sure that they could get the maximum amount of farm to their roam. Hopefully, like right after this first turtle, the roam picks up that level 4, can become an issue. Vexana gonna have the Eternal Guardian, as we were talking about that Tenzi here getting locked onto. We were talking about that damage. Out comes the Appraiser's Wrath. Tenzi able to match it up with the Retribution to snatch away this turtle from NIIGHTMARE.
That was so clean from the side of Tenzei, using the Retribution and applying it for the first time in 2 games and getting that contest between him and Too Easy for Lexi, even though Too Easy for Lexi have the second skill, also the immunity that comes with it, and the Retribution. Again, Tenzei was the one who settles down the turtle fight. 3 minutes into the game and no casualties for both teams, almost the same farm for both teams, and everything looks so quiet on both sides. NIIGHTMARE Esports are still seeking an opportunity, and this opportunity will be served to them just by the Franco, because he's the only one who can make a surprise attack. There's no face checking heroes in this game. There's no one to take in some damage. NIIGHTMARE Esports are totally relying on their heavy guns and their damage.
Yeah, you can see already taking down that big taunt coming out from Tenzi, and chunks down 2 members of NIIGHTMARE down to about half health. Justin caught rotating here, does land a bunch of damage from Apex, and the Appraiser's Wrath gonna finish the job. That's gonna be a first blood for FLUX.
On the bot lane though, they want to, oh my god, they are going in.
Yeah, they go in there, and this is what we were talking about. A lot of that damage, a lot of that CC, that comboing that you can get from Apex. All that Tenzi needs to do, go in, get a taunt off, walk out. Meanwhile, you have Apex there, able to throw down some CC. The fear comes out, and then the Eternal Guardian. And Cammy can do nothing but zigzag back and forth, confused, until he is down and sent back to base.
Oh my god, looking at the clock, getting fed up from FLUX Esports, and this Iron Hook doesn't land upon Sunshine. Sunshine is moving so swiftly, and not seeing a single literally a single purify from FLUX Esports terrifies me, even as a viewer, not just as a caster. So any try or any attempt from Jasmine to hook someone, it will be successful. But are they betting that they will hook, but yet force a team fight?
Yeah, out comes another Realm. Tenzi still able to get the Lord, finds a kill onto Jasmine, and Lexi and Jack are trying to get away here. As FLUX gives chase, we do have a flicker in. Alien able to find a kill onto Lexi, turned that around on him, and now it is 4-0. NIIGHTMARE Esports in a bad spot, while the rest of FLUX starting to claim purple buffs, starting to claim towers, and enforce their will onto NIIGHTMARE's side of the jungle.
Well, this is the all I wanna see, and this game, Alien has answered me. Look at the mid lane. This is the turret that you don't expect to see falling down in a matter of 5 minutes. But going back to a point I was just raising, the Franco is a really dangerous pick. He can take one off, and that's why he's called a pick-off hero. But once he hooks someone, maybe it will be lethal for NIIGHTMARE Esports to follow up upon this hook, because with a flicker final slash, or even with an ultimate or a first kill or anything that has used with the crowd control, they can cancel out all what NIIGHTMARE Esports are planning. So FLUX Esports, when we go inside the game, when we go and proceed minute by minute, their job makes more sense to me, and it's easy to execute, having 3k gold lead, and right now 4-0 with cleaning out that mid lane first turret.
Well, that's the problem too with NIIGHTMARE Esports. There's a lot of boxes that need to be checked for them to be successful. The stars literally need to align, because Justin can throw a hook into anywhere, but he has a bigger chance of actually landing that hook onto Tenzi. Oh, Jack down the bottom gets caught. Tenzi finds another kill. That is 5-0. A very dominant game, very different from the last one from NIIGHTMARE Esports and FLUX here. But as I was saying, you have a bigger chance of catching Tenzi with the correct positioning, because he's going to be up in front. If you catch him, hook him, bring him back to your team, you have a bigger chance of getting that taunt onto all of your team. The damage that Tenzi can put out, the tankiness that he has. Yeah, and we're gonna see right now, he's trying to get a good position there. Tenzi still able to get the turtle. Lexi gonna try to use that mortal coil to get him and his team out of harm's way. They are gonna back up, but you can see here already the damage is starting to be done. Tower at the mid is opening up the map. They're gonna go ahead and try to get this purple buff, but I wouldn't be surprised if they get invaded.
It doesn't seem too easy for Lexi anymore when it comes to the retribution battles, when it comes to getting inside those turtle bits. He cannot contest against Tenzi when it comes to the retribution this game. Looking here at the turrets, looking here at the itemization, we will notice that FLUX esports are so far ahead, even though we are just 8 minutes into the game. And look at the items Claude already have. Oh, an iron hook.
Yeah, we do see the Nether Realm come out, and that's the problem. You land the Iron Hook, you're gonna have to deal with the Nether Realm and the rest of the team. Apex able to find a kill on to Jasmine as well. And that is the danger. You land the hook, but now you have to deal with the entire team diving in on you, especially supported by the Nether Realm.
Oh my god, the Iron Hook. It seems like it's working against NIIGHTMARE esports. They did land an Iron Hook with a flicker, a really smooth one, but he's overestimating his HP. Tenzi plays with fire, and NIIGHTMARE esports go back after losing one of their first and initial turrets. And look at Sunshine. He's just taking one more and added up there in the score for his team.
Yeah, this is unfortunate for NIIGHTMARE esports because, I mean, you're losing that early game advantage. Lexi already not getting damage items. He's already started trying to get defensive items, as we saw there. The marksman, Sunshine, already sitting at about 2K gold above County right now. So they're having such a dominant performance here that there's not much that you can do, especially when you actually make a play. Hook does go just a little bit wide of Apex, and that's a purple buff that goes over to FLUX as well.
When he lands an Iron Hook, he doesn't just need that Iron Hook to hit. He wants it to hit, and he wants to drag this player who have just been hooked back behind his own teammates, not just in the middle of them. He wants to drag it just far behind the front laners that he have, so that NIIGHTMARE esports are able to apply any kind of damage. Sometimes when I see this Iron Hook, I'm actually afraid that NIIGHTMARE esports won't be able to follow up. Each time he brought someone, he just brought a disaster to his team. No matter, even if he got a damage dealer, it's still working the other way, not working for the favor of NIIGHTMARE esports. Anyway, looking here at the minions being synced once again and taking all the secondary turrets, including the bot and the top, and now looking forward to see the mid lane go down for FLUX esports. NIIGHTMARE esports need to find a solution, and they need to find it so fast. Whether that solution was a single play or like a one-man miracle that's being pulled off, or even a team effort. The Lord didn't even march in, and the inhibitor turrets are in danger when it comes to NIIGHTMARE esports.
Yeah, and they're just being, this is just a surgical game, basically a class getting given right now on how to sync lanes, how to one by one take down towers, not expending, oh man, Justin tries to get a hook, still goes wide, and man, and this is unfortunate because there are just very few answers right now. You're basically waiting. FLUX needs to make a mistake. NIIGHTMARE needs to be there to be able to capitalize on it. We do have an Eternal Guardian coming out there. Lexi gets taken down from the side. Alien finds the kill there. Now they are pushing in. Out comes a little bit more damage, and Jack able to take down Apex, and we might be able to turn this one around a little bit, but you can see Sunshine still able to take down that tower. 7-1 lead right now, just under a 10K gold lead.
Oh, a flicker final slash coming from Alien, but doesn't find any targets to be used upon. And look here, Sunshine just focused on pushing those turrets. The ultimate, the rescue didn't come fast enough from Rasa, so goes down Apex 47 for the first time in this game. And again, Mobile Legends is a strategical game. It's not a killing game. 7-1. This is not a massive lead, but when it comes to gold lead, we are almost 1k per minute ahead for FLUX Esports, using that gold gap to its limit. And look here at the itemization. Claude is just having fun picking whatever he wants from the items, while on the other hand, Brody is trying his best to keep up with the Claude. The damage is just unbearable when it comes to this moment for NIIGHTMARE Esports.
Yeah, and you can see there what's from those items that Lexi never even able to take off with damage items. He is a full tank Martis. Oh, we do land a stun here. Suppression lands onto it. Are they gonna be able to take down Apex? Here comes the Nether Realm for the save. Ooh. And they turn it around onto NIIGHTMARE, give chase, and find 2 kills instead.
Oh my god. Oh my god, just looks so hard for NIIGHTMARE Esports to come back from that. 4 members marching from the mid lane. They will not even go for the next Lord. They might just end it, and they might just end it now.
Yeah, you can see Jasmine in trouble here. Jack and Lexi trying to create an escape here, but now the pressure is on. Minions coming in. Can they defend? Whoa. Lexi taking a heap of damage. In comes. Oh, that is going to be it for Jack. Minions not at the core just yet. A silent breath from the side of NIIGHTMARE Esports, as they're not going to need to defend it, but you have this Luminous Lord coming up as FLUX. I mean, very quickly turn their sights on the Lord.
When it comes to breathing, I don't think that NIIGHTMARE Esports are even able to breathe at this moment. They cannot take a single breath when it comes to this game. NIIGHTMARE Esports are far behind, and FLUX are just increasing the pressure in a suffocating manner. FLUX Esports will just wait, freezing all the lanes out just to sink again. All the minions to go inside the base and finish this once and for all with a 2-0 full sweep. But NIIGHTMARE Esports might just be able to pull off a miracle, because this is what they need to get back from such game. They need a miracle, and they need it now.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I'm not sure where that miracle comes from, unless we're talking about a comet coming and landing on FLUX right now, because all members right now underfed, not enough items. You can see right here, the big Eternal Guardian comes in. Nether Realm is out, bursting down the side of NIIGHTMARE. And there goes the core. You can see it getting chunked down. That is going to be a clean sweep for FLUX.
FLUX Esports taking that second game without breaking a sweat, with a really solid draft and a really well done execution, taking 2 games into their favor.
It's a lot that NIIGHTMARE was going to be able to do.
Yeah, for me, when it comes to the draft itself, I thought that we will see a counter engage hero such as the Atlas. Maybe we'll see a Kufra, but the Kufra didn't make a lot of sense since the Lilia is on the opposite side. But again, we have seen the Vixana as a rumor for the first time, and after we finish this highlight, we want to talk about how many heroes have been really out of our minds when it comes to that draft so far in games of the future. But looking here, and look, even though he landed an Iron Hook, he brought a disaster to his team, being forced to use a flicker out Kami and also taking that top lane tier. Tennessee have won all the retribution battles, and the damage from the Claude with a Demon Hunter sword, with a golden staff, and with everything, was able every and each time to surprise NIIGHTMARE Esports, melting down all their tanky heroes. You can imagine what happened to the squishy one. So Jaspin, think that Franco's pick was good, but it wasn't good enough.
Yeah, you can see here, even with an entire suppression that lands on the Apex, FLUX very quickly able to close the distance, Nether Realm in, and then turn it around onto NIIGHTMARE. This being the final push here, Lord at the mid. It was pretty much a done game at that point. You can see here the MVP Tenzi making up for I want to say making up for some of those missed retributions during the first game here. Came back with a vengeance. 5-0-6, 32% 30% damage dealt. That's pretty amazing for a Fredrin. That means especially he was able to get off a lot of those appraisers, wraths down. And especially when you're that far ahead, the tankiness, the ability of the team to try to whittle you down, the amount of time you have to be able to get that ultimate off is immense. And he used it basically on cooldown on the enemy. And I mean, you could see it there, 32% damage.
Even though he is a utility jungler, even though he shouldn't be dealing that much damage, and especially because he have two mages on his side. Yes, one of them were played as a rumor, but you have two mages and a Claude, and you were already in the late game and you dealt 32%. That's remarkable. Tennessee takes his revenge in the second game, and looking here, it wasn't looking promising whatsoever for NIIGHTMARE Esports when it came to the turrets, because they haven't touched a single turret this game. So it was a full sweep, a clean game for FLUX Esports, applying everything that they have been practicing on for the previous period of time since they have left the M5 World Championship. So looking at these games, Private, and speaking of strange and awkward and surprising picks,